interesting papers today. Obviously, lots of reaction to Europa League, and then lots of focus on Gareth Southgate from his press conference yesterday, of course, announcing the England squad. Lots to go through. We're going to talk about the 2030 World Cup a little bit later on in the show, and then the Saudi, what might be the 2034 World Cup as well.
Where's England?
A little bit later. Well, they've got the Euros.
That's
2020, UK and Ireland as well. Back page of the Times this morning, pictures of England getting beaten by New Zealand yesterday in the Cricket World Cup. Saudis to chase world's elite. The Gulf state expected to host the 2034 World Cup and planning to have one of the best leagues by then. And Qataris to stick to the United offer. We're going to come back to that. Back page of the Sun today, world's gone mad, and a picture of Gareth Southgate looking a little bit frustrated. Integrity of the showpiece in doubt. That's talking about the World Cup being across 3 continents, which still feels a little bit bonkers. And back page of the Mail, the headline is I hate VAR too. This is the most, I think, relatable Gareth Southgate could be to the public at this moment in time. Southgate blasts technology after blunder cost Liverpool. And back page of the Mirror, scrap it. Southgate, no fan of video, and says everyone used to moan about the ref and they still do. What have we fixed? Good thing is about Gareth Southgate yesterday, he was very refreshingly honest and opinionated. Here's what he had to say about VAR.
I didn't want VAR from the off. I'm always a believer that referees and lines people give decisions, and we should respect those decisions. We're always going to disagree. I think there are some elements of technology that clearly, if a ball's crossed the line or not, has become very straightforward. But there's so much nuance in decision making that you're never going to resolve all the issues. And now we have these long delays in games where very often the only people that don't know what's going on are the people that have paid to go. So that's a big part of my frustration with the system.
Makes a good point. Very good point, doesn't he? And really relating to the fans and their frustrations as well.
Oh, there's nothing more annoying when the game is stopped for a review and you're thinking, who's this in? Sometimes it can be a moment. I'm going back a couple of seasons, I think Brentford's first season in the Premier League, and there was an incident where it was a red card, but you didn't know which way it was going to go. And actually, when it went against Brentford, it was Joshua Silva, I think, got red carded. It was like, oh, what did he do to get red carded? Because we automatically all thought it was the other way around. I can't even remember who we were playing.
It's the celebrations as well, isn't it?
Yeah, delays.
As a player, suddenly, oh no, he's been disallowed. It's a nightmare sometimes, but I can see Gareth what he's saying there. I think there's quite a few people who didn't want VAR, but I don't think he's going to go anywhere. That's the problem you're going to have. So you have to deal with it and try and tinker with it to make it better. But it was a shambles this weekend. Last weekend. If
you were still playing in the Premier League, say now, Ray, would that spoil football and the moments for you?
I think you just got to go with what's going on, you know. And it's like anything. I mean, it's a situation where you got to deal with it. Things is always involved. I look at it and say you just got to play week in, week out. Do your best you can. If you score a goal, let's hope it's onside, and celebrate as you would. But it's so much disappointment. It's the best feeling ever, scoring a goal, but to get it chalked off as well, especially when it's a big moment in a football match where it could change the game. And it could be disallowed. So, yeah, I mean, I'm with Gareth, but as I said before, it's not going to go anywhere, VAR, and it's a situation you just got to deal with it now.
Yeah, you never imagine them coming out and saying, yeah, we got this wrong.
Did you when it come in, you're thinking, well, we ain't got nothing to talk about now because they're going to get every decision right. Yeah. you talk about it even more now, decisions they make.
Till the cows come home. The reason he was doing this press conference, of course, because he announced his England squad. England will face Australia next week. We're going to have that game live on talkSPORT. The squad selection, Harry Maguire, of course, still in there. Calvin Phillips still in there. Now, the media quiet on these matters after, I guess, the backlash from Harry Maguire and what happened last time round. Are we happy with those selections? Would you have changed anything?
Well, certainly Ward-Prowse would be a little bit unlucky. He's been brilliant since he's gone to West Ham. One of the best signings of the window. So he would certainly be a little bit down for not being in it, but he'll keep doing what he's doing for West Ham and just keep playing the way he's playing. I'm sure he might get another opportunity. And Gareth has been, he's been loyal with so many players across the time he's been in reign as England manager. So that's not going to change, I'm afraid.
It's a bit like...
People don't let him down, so they pick him again.
Well, this is it. And it's a bit like, we're fed up with talking about VAR. I'm at a stage where I'm fed up with talking about Maguire and Henderson.
Maguire did let him down. Well, I know it was a friendly, but...
Yeah, I just sort of think... I'm at a point now where, like you say, you just got to accept they're going to be called up until somebody else does something enough for Gareth Southgate to go, do you know what, I don't need so-and-so. But I do think you're right. I think James Ward-Prowse is unlucky.
Going forward, they've got so many good players, haven't they?
Jared Bowen coming in, Ollie
the
Watkins in as well.
And the forward line is superb, but that's been their problem, is it? Defenders is not a load of nuclear. Obviously, John Stones is back, which is a massive boost for England because he's a top player. But yeah, I think Gareth is just always going to stick with players he knows he can trust.
Yeah, there's no, I mean, obviously there's no Chilwell or Shaw, for example, the left back situation, which we know Trippier can play. Obviously, we've seen Colwill play it as well. But that's the other issue, I suppose, defensively.
What about Bukayo Saka? He's in there as well, Natalie. We know he picked up a knock and limped off in his last game for Arsenal. In the Sun today, it says Saka still looks set for Lions. Charlie Wyatt saying that England hopes Saka will be fit for the next 2 internationals, even though he could miss Arsenal's crunch Premier League clash on Sunday, of course, against Manchester City. And then he goes on to say that the winger Saka is nursing foot, thigh and hamstring problems. It's a list.
How many players do nurse loads of injuries?
The North London derby was a very physical game. And I think he fouled him about 4 times. And, that's a sort of... I love those battles, though, because I thought that was really good. The left back against the wing, like the old days. Yeah. Who can get the best out of each other. And I think Udogi's been a good signing for Spurs. Yeah. But he's going to get knocks along the way because he's such a skillful player. People are going to try and, try and get him out of the game because he's so important for Arsenal. But I hope he's fit. Who knows? I mean, he does recover quite quickly. He's a young lad and he will recover quicker than if you're a little bit older.
Well, were there ever, with international sides, were deals ever done with an international manager and a club side where it might be with Saka, look, we won't use him for the Australia game?
No,
that never happens.
No, but I'm sure it will do. Oh, okay. I'm sure Gareth will be looking at it and saying, look, I'm not going to risk anybody. I'm not going to put their careers in jeopardy or that season in jeopardy if I play him when he's not really 100% to be fit. But there's so many players who play 80% fit, 75% fit, depending on what game it is. So you don't want to risk him in a friendly, do you?
No, exactly.
It's not worth it.
No.
Not at all. Let's go to the back page of the Times as well. Matt Lawton and Matt Dickinson saying that Qataris stick to Manchester United offer. The Qatari group bidding for Manchester United will not increase their existing offer of $5 billion, despite the threat posed by a new deal for Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He considered getting a 25% stake. That came out earlier on this week, which means...
But that's no good for Man United fans, is it?
Changes nothing.
Exactly.
But do you think it's ownership or Erik Ten Hag who are to blame for the poor start to the season?
Well, you've got to look at players as well. I mean, are they performing? You can't always look at managers, but you got to wear that Manchester United shirt with pride and go out there and give you all every single game. There's too many times this season I see people walking back, getting in the right positions at the right time, and whether it's down to the manager, The problem I've always had with managers, if you lose the dressing room, which with the Sancho situation, I don't know what the backlash is in the dressing room, because players talk behind the manager's back. And if you've said, it's out of all the way they treated Sancho or whoever, that's a problem you have. If he's lost the dressing room, if he hasn't, then the players have got to look at themselves. But there's only one person who's going to get sacked. It ain't the player, it's the manager these days. And, if they don't get results soon, they've got to make a big decision.
Natalie, just a quick one for
Brentford.
you as well. Yeah, of course, Brentford this weekend. But inside the papers today, your work husband, Tony Cascarino, is speaking out. Back tomorrow from 6, of course, with yourself. He said, lazy pundits are not the issue, Kevin, not lady footballers. I've been a football pundit for 23 years. The difference between those who are good and those who are bad comes down to the one thing. You lazy are hardworking. I work with Natalie Sawyer on the radio, and I never think she's out of her comfort zone. She has never played professional football, but she knows her stuff. I'm not here to defend women in sport. They don't need defending, but the game is evolving and there's different levels to how punditry job is done. Shout out Natalie Sawyer. Love that.
I don't even know what to say.
So cute.
So
she's trying to find it now.
Honestly,
I've got really cutting for you here. You take that off.
We're putting that in a frame and showing everybody. No, that's very kind of. And do you know what? He's right, because we talked about it briefly yesterday, what Kevin Keegan had to say, and it was a little bit. Look, I said it yesterday. He's entitled to his opinion. My opinion is it's ill thought out, because I do think women pundits do have to work a lot harder just to try and be on a same or thought of a similar level to men. But I do also understand there are a lot of people out there that don't want to see women pundits covering men's football. I get that. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I actually think we've got some pretty decent women pundits out there. So.
And you're
just give them a chance. Well, I don't know about that. But anyway, we'll move on very quickly. Shebahn, you'll be back with us. Thank you very much. That was a look at today's back pages.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.